Ready to put the mirror in, and you could see I put some nails as spacers on one side for the vertical and one side on the horizontal. That will allow me to space the frame properly because of that 1/4 inch space that I left extra. That's going to give me about an 1/8 inch on either side for a good silicone bead. And then what I also did is I put the frame up there and I traced it, and then I also used a stud finder to find out where the studs are. You could see right here the stud is going to be right at the edge of one of the sides of the trim, so that is going to cause a little bit of an issue. And then there is one in the middle and one in the middle of that vertical. So it should be held on fairly well when I put the silicone on the edges for sealing on both the mirror and that, and then just a bead down the middle to hold it because we don't want to do too much. And for those of you who don't know what a stud finder is or what it does, you basically put it on and it helps you find the center of a stud, and then you could mark that. So what I also did, because the stud is going to get, that mark's going to get covered, is I used the dry erase right here, and that will help me figure out where it is, where the mirror covers it. And I also put little pencil marks, because sometimes dry erase doesn't come off very well, but pencil does. Another thing I did was I just took a piece of sanding pad and just sanded the paint where the silicone's going to go to make sure it adheres very well. And then the nails I used were just off of one of those kits for hanging pictures. These nails are almost 1/8 of an inch, so they give you really good spacing. Here you can see on the horizontal I have them on the edges, and then here on the vertical. Okay, we'll put the silicone next and then hang the frame, and then I will be using an 18 gauge brad nailer that I got from Home Depot a long time ago. I don't know if they still make these, but it's been a very reliable one for me. And for those of you who aren't familiar with these, they're nice to have because you can have one hand free and then just tack it. Another thing to do to prep is to get a dish detergent and put it on a rag or a paper towel, and then proceed to just touch the edges of the mirror. What this is going to do is not allow the silicone to adhere to the mirror when you want to clean it off. Don't go behind the mirror, just the flat surface, and that will help with reducing the adhesion of the silicone on the mirror face itself. Okay, for the silicone I'm using the same stuff, a clear 10-year mold-free silicone that I will put up close against the mirror. Don't worry that the nails are there, they'll come out when you get the mirror mounted with just pulling on them. I put them where there were no studs, so again, just load it up. We put that soap on the edge so it'll basically cover it up. Then put a bead down the middle of where the board is going to go, and then one bead at the edge, and you'll be able to clean it up with a rag. If you use a little vinegar and dish soap in your water in a spray bottle, that works great for this application. So don't worry too much about too much of a mess. You'll be able to clean it all up. This stuff cleans fairly well. So we're going to do that all around here, and I'll get back. Another option for putting the mirror up is to use these types of screws that could be driven in by a power tool. The head is a little bigger than what you would get with a brad nailer. If you don't have a brad nailer though, they do really well. Once you get them in there, you could touch them up with a Sharpie to make a black head on it, and then if you fill it over with some stain or something like that, you barely will notice them. You have to look really hard. So that's just another option if you don't have a brad nailer. But please do wear hearing protection when you have a brad nailer. As you can see, I do have a lot of silicone up against the mirror here, and then on the outer edges. And once I put the board in, I'll be able to brad nail it in. So I'll do that next. Okay, so now I'm going to hang the mirror. And the reason I only did the top and the side is so that I could place this and then get it spaced over. And it's going to help me basically space it with the nails. And then I push it in the best I can. And then I could use the brad nailer. And because this is at the edge, I'm going to do this first. Try to get as close to the edge without cracking my board. There it took. I have the compressor off so it won't come on while I'm filming. And we know that the top one is there. There we go. Had for this one a couple here. And another one down here. And another one closer to the mirror. Okay, it looks like this board could use one here. There we go. All right. So that is the brad nailer. Then I'm going to go in with silicone and clean that up. And then on the edges, as you see, it just overflowed in a spot or two. And so I'll be able to clean that up. But that's basically it. I'll take the nails out and they'll come out real easy because they're just in drywall. So you just give them a wiggle and they come right out. But they helped with the spacing while we were putting up the mirror. And now I can go in and silicone everything shut and do my cleanup. Alright guys, just a recap of how this is looking. There is some cleanup still to do. But again, you could see what the finished result is looking like. We have a good silicone bead all around the mirror, and I think this is going to last a long time with the little kiddos brushing their teeth and splashing the mirror and all that. So we have a good bead of silicone all on the inside. We have oil-based stain and oil-based clear coat on top of that. That is a satin finish. We have silicone on the outer edges here. So we should be good to go. All right, hope you enjoyed this. We would appreciate a thumbs up if you learned anything. And we definitely would appreciate a subscribe